National League East.
Now we got to take this with a grain of salt, obviously, because so many things happen in a Major League Baseball season. But let's start in the East. I have it, the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, the Nats, and the Marlins pulling up their rear. The Braves were surprised last year. We mentioned this, BT, and Freddie Freeman, their vet there. But they signed Josh Donaldson. Remember Dansby Swanson?
Sure.
He's finally coming along.
Yep.
And obviously, they have so much young talent, including Ronald Acuna Jr., who got a lot of press last year. I like the Braves to win the division. I like Philly. Despite what the Mets have done this offseason with Robbie Cano, who's already paying off, I like Philly to come in second here because of the Bryce Harper boost, and not to mention the other guys that they brought in this offseason. I like the Braves and the Phillies and the Mets to really compete in this division.
Okay, I think there's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of stars. A very vibrant fan bases outside of Miami. Jeter's got to get that going. I've got the Nats, the Braves, the Mets 1, 2, and 3. Phillies, I had the Phillies fourth, but I think the Phillies will be 86-ish wins. I don't think they'll be bad, obviously. I just think that there's a little overrating what they could be. Marlins are going to be horrendous, maybe 60-something wins. You mentioned Acuna. I want to see a full year from Trey Turner. Already has a couple of steals today. Juan Soto, first opening day, an absolute beast. And you left out a name for the Braves, although you ran through the biggest ones. NC Arte's a good player as well.
Good point.
Gets on base, can run, can pick it in the outfield. So I think the NL East is really good. Nobody north of 93 wins. The Nats, I believe, will win the division at 93, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to this division.
National League Central.
Cubs, Brewers, Cardinals, Pirates, and then the Reds pulling up their rear. I really like the Cubs rotation. John Lester's older. Yu Darvish has got to get his stuff right, but you know how he is. Cole Hamels as well in there. But it's their position players who are still young and controllable. I love Schwarber because he was here. They won the championship.
He better start hitting though, otherwise Schwarber's going to find himself happy.
But Chris Bryant, had a little bit of a down year last year, but he's too good to have that persist. So I like the Cubs pulling in this division. But then the Brewers, obviously Christian Yelich was an MVP candidate last year, and they have so much talent on that roster. I like the Brewers coming in second here.
You know, it's funny. You like the Cubs more than I do. I've got the Cardinals winning this division. Again, similar to the NL East. I don't think anybody runs away with this. I don't have anybody at more than 93. I've got the Redbirds at 93. The Brewers right behind them at 92. They've got a closer. I know the ridiculous tweets from last year from Josh Hader, but he's absolutely filthy. You got Yelich, who's sick. Travis Shaw's a doubles guy, a home run guy. Travis Shaw's a good third baseman. I like the Brewers number 2. I'm not feeling the Cubs rotation as much as you are. The names sound good, but they've got a lot to prove. They just signed Kyle Hendricks, by the way, to an extension, which I think is pretty smart because he doesn't live on velocity, so he's good. But I've got the Cubs third. I think the Reds are interesting. Reds brought in a lot of new pieces. I'm happy for Reds fans. That place has been a graveyard for too long. It's a good ballpark, the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. It's not going to be the big red machine, but they're getting more competitive. The Pirates, listen, I love you. I love fan bases that hang in there. And for 21 years, they didn't make the playoffs, but the Pirates missed their window, and the Pirates are going backwards. They're kind of rebuilding. I have the Pirates south of 70 wins. Wow. They're not going to be very good this year.
National League West.
This one's easy for me. Dodgers take it again for the 7th year in a row. The Rockies, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. The big storyline here, obviously, 6 years in a row for the Dodgers winning the National League West. But last year, it took 163 games for them to win the division. The Rockies are obviously very good, but I like the Dodgers finally pulling through again and then getting, determine this later, getting back to the World Series.
Ooh, don't give it away. That a boy. I've got the Dodgers here as well, number 1. Now that I think about it, I'll give the Dodgers the C note. I wasn't going to give anybody in the NL 100 wins, but I'm going to give the Dodgers right on the button 100 wins. I've got the Rockies behind them, 84 wins. Padres coming up the chute, not quite 500. I've got them at 80 and 82. They're obviously making their move, and their fans should be jazzed up for what could be a little renaissance run here, and they could be good for a while. Their farm system's incredible. I would love to see the Giants play well. I know they'll play hard, but for Bochy's final year. But I have them at 79 wins. Diamondbacks are not going to be very good, right around 73, 74. The thing about the Padres, we know about the offseason additions, but keep an eye on the big ones, of course. Keep an eye on Will Myers, who is a little streaky. And if he gets in a good streak, and theoretically he should, because he should see more fastballs this year, Will Myers can mash. You also have Ian Kinsler, who's a professional hitter. And, something about the Dodgers as well. I would say that Ross Shepling is key. Maeda should be okay. Ryu, obviously. The key that, key, of course, is Kershaw being healthy. But I just think the Dodgers, are ready to do some damage. I think they win this going away.
NL Wild Cards.
I have the Phillies and the Mets. This is all East for me.
Man, wow.
I love the East this year. So Phillies and the Mets making the wild card.
That would be fun. I wouldn't have an issue watching that in October. No problem there. I've got the Braves, so I'm obviously taking somebody from the NL East as well. I ran down a million reasons why, and so did you. Josh Donaldson, Freeman, Enciarte, Acuna. By the way, I think he sincerely flirts with a 30-30 this year. Last year, nobody cares. I know you don't care. Some do. ADP, he's going top first round for draft. I took him last year. It's a draft and stash. You could keep guys you lose. It's a 3-round penalty. I took Acuna last year in round 13. He's my 10th round pick this year.
Oh, wow.
His ADP is like 10, 11. He's going to be insane. He is great. I think he goes 30-30. I've got the Braves and the Brewers. Brewers bullpen is good. They catch the baseball. And I think Milwaukee, this goes back to the early 80s, too, with Cecil Cooper and those guys, and Robin Yount and Paul Molitor. When the Brewers have a good baseball team, here's a name for you, Moose Haas. The Brewer fans show up and show out. So I think Milwaukee's going to be fun this summer. Give me the Braves and the Brewers, the wild card of the NL.
American League East.
This is the Red Sox division again, even though the Yankees are going to be right. Yeah, it's all about pitching, man. The Rays coming in third, the Blue Jays and the Orioles pulling up the rear, as we were just talking about earlier. The Orioles just bad right now. But you look at the Boston Red Sox rotation with Chris Sale and David Price, and we all thought David would leave Boston. He decided to stay. He exercised his option.
But nobody's going to give him that money.
True.
He had to stay.
I mean, but still, he's a World Series hero in a sense up there, even though probably not, if you know what I mean.
I think they're on a decent page now because it was bad for a while.
So. And then Nathan Eovaldi, who is no slouch.
I wish the Yankees got him.
Agreed. So
filthy.
the rotation is fantastic. And then you got Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts, and like they have the players that are baseball players that can win for you. Now, obviously, the Yankees are the Yankees. They got mashers everywhere. Voit went yard this afternoon.
426 feet, Monument Park, dead center. Exit velo 113, crushed it.
Brett Gardner got out. I think he struck out, but then base hit by Stanton, base hit by Judge, home run by Voit. I mean, how do you get through that line?
You don't.
It's just tough.
And they don't even have Didi Gregorius right now.
I agree. The Rays are going to do it with imaginative managing. He may be in line to win the manager of the year.
Kevin Cash.
But I like the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Rays in this division.
Yeah, listen, I don't know how anybody, unless you're just a complete homer or delusional or both. I mean, there's no way the Blue Jays and the Orioles can be anywhere but fourth or fifth. You want to flip them, I would think that's irresponsible as well. I think Toronto's much better than Baltimore. I think Baltimore is one of the worst baseball teams we will have seen when it's all said and done in a long time. Maybe back to the early 2000 Tigers.
Wow.
I mean, they're bad. Not to beat up on them, but they're clearly rebuilding. Yankees have some issues with the injuries, but I'm going to go Yankees, Red Sox, the Rays, Toronto, Baltimore. Yankees, I'm going to give them 102 wins. The Red Sox, 97. I understand all the assets that you just identified for the Boston Red Sox. You know, a couple of words I don't like if I want to invest in a team. Bullpen by committee. That's what the Red Sox are doing right now.
I know.
And unless they somehow have a thawing and they bring Craig Kimbrell back.
Do you think they will, by the way?
I mean, no, I think somebody else is going to pounce on him because I really do. I think that ship has kind of sailed. Hopefully Didi's healthy. Hopefully Severino's okay. Yankees will mash. I think J.D. Martinez could take a little statistical step back, but the Red Sox are a beast. It wouldn't surprise me if they win the division. I'm going with my Yanks, though.
American League Central.
I got the Indians, the Twins, the White Sox, the Tigers, and the Royals. Obviously, the Indians are the team to focus on in this division. And if they can, after, what was that, 2 years ago?
Who's this now?
The Indians. They were 3 years ago. Maybe it was 3 years ago. That disappointment in the World Series. It feels like the team is still on the come. I like the Indians and the Twins at the top of this division. The rest of them, we'll see.
Shaking the bag and whatever happens. I think you're absolutely right. I totally agree. I like the Indians as well to win the American League Central. I've got the Twins. Now, I know that you didn't actually attach like numerical.
I didn't do number of wins.
Projected win totals. I believe that, whether it's Ramirez, who will be okay. Lindor, by the way, we know Lindor's hurt. Lindor actually sprained his ankle on a rehab assignment for the previous injury.
No.
So Lindor's going to be out for a little bit here. I actually have the Indians barely winning this division at 91, and I think Minnesota's going to be it's a good ballpark. It's a great history. I think the Twins flirt with 90. I think they're right there with the Indians most of the summer. The White Sox are coming. They've got some young prospects, as we know. I'll put them in the low to mid-70s. The Royals are obviously going in the wrong direction, and the Tigers are going to be pretty bad. Although I do think Mickey Cabrera, I don't know if I want to see where he goes in my draft on Saturday. I'm really curious about that. I think Mickey's going to have a little bit of a flashback season and hit. I think he had the oblique and something with his hand last year. If you can't turn and you can't grip a bat the right way, you can't hit. I think he's healthy. I think he hits, but the Tigers are bad.
American League West.
Astros, Angels, A's, Rangers, and the Mariners. Even though the Mariners are technically leading the division right now.
There they are, 2-0.
Japanese wins. But the Astros have the rotation. They have the position players that we were talking about a little bit earlier. And the Angels have Mike Trout. And hopefully, at some point, Shohei Ohtani gets back to form as a hitter. Trevor Cahill and Matt Harvey, who's kind of resurrected himself a little bit last year with the Reds.
Yeah.
We'll see what he does now out in Los Angeles. He's California living. Could be good.
Could be good. Could be bad.
We'll see. We'll see.
Never know what match.
But I want the Angels to break through. And I think this is like a wish thing. I just want Mike Trout to be significantly in the postseason.
I want to see Mike Trout dig in and have 18 to 20 World Series at bats.
Agreed.
We deserve that. I mean, we deserve to see. You know, I mean, it might not happen this year, but I do agree with you that they're coming. And I've got him second in the American League West. I've got the easy call. I believe Bregman takes, maybe a 7 to 8% statistical leap forward. He's a great third baseman. He's a leader. He's a good kid. I love Bregman's great. The Astros are going to dominate. I'm going to put the Angels right at 89 wins. They've made some, and I believe the Harvey was possibly an under the radar, could pay some dividends. I think that was a smart move. The A's, we only know a few of their players. I get that. We do this every year, but they know how to play. They know how to catch the ball. Chris Davis mashes, by the way, 40 bombs every year. Mariners aren't very good, 76-ish wins, and I've got the Rangers. Our buddy C.J. Nikowski's going to have a rough run. I've got the Texas Rangers at 71 wins, basement in the American League West.
AL Wild Cards.
Yankees and the Angels.
All right. You going to get your Mike Trout wish?
I am going to get my.
If you're right.
I'm willing it into existence.
And let's speak it into the universe. I've got the Red Sox. Nobody can leave even though I have the Yankees winning the division, nobody can in their right minds, unless something catastrophic happens in Boston, can leave the Red Sox on the outside of the playoff picture. Red Sox are loaded. And I'm going with the Twins.
Ooh.
I'm going with the Minnesota Twins, sneaking in there, 90-ish wins, in the hunt all year, nip and tuck with the Indians for the Central. I've got the Twins as my wild card. Second.
MVP.
MVP in the NL will be Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies. And in the AL, it's going to be Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. I've got Paul Goldschmidt. Now, I don't love picking, although J.D. Martinez had a seamless transition, last year to the Red Sox from Arizona. And here we go. Paul Goldschmidt's leaving Arizona, going to the Cards. I'm not a big fan of giving somebody an MVP, like touting somebody for the MVP when they change teams. There's a little transitional period that you would think. But Goldschmidt, I think he's going to be energized. I really do. I think, and that's a great ballpark. Cardinal fans are phenomenal. Got some weapons around them, a couple of guys that can run. He should get up and see some fastballs with guys in front of him. I've got Goldschmidt for the St. Louis Cardinals. I've got Aaron Judge in the American League. Aaron Judge is going to crush it this season.
Cy Young.
Walker Buehler for the Dodgers.
You going Buehler?
He is. He's a big guy, man. Kershaw's not there.
I like him.
Finally, Chris Sale and the Red Sox in the AL.
And he better start eating because he tends to wither away in September. He's 166 pounds. He gets a little fit at the end of the year.
He's been so close so many times.
He's filthy.
Come on, man.
Nasty.
I agree.
All arms and legs and herky-jerky and sick elite superb stuff. Not a bad call. I've got Chris Sale as well in the American League for the Red Sox. I've got Max Scherzer, who won't get the win today. He's got a no decision. Let's see if the Nationals come back. It is the bottom of the ninth. Mets up 2-zip. And looks like Diaz is on. They picked him up, obviously. The Mets did. He's going to solidify that bullpen. So
one mistake he made.
One mistake he made.
One mistake. One bad
mistake.
pitch.
Well, I was in the car. I still haven't seen the home run.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It may have just been a good pitch that Robbie Cano hit. Well, I don't know that it was necessarily. It could have been a mistake, but I have to see where it was. It up? Was it too much of the plate? Whatever. I've got Max Scherzer, who's going to win the NL Cy Young. He's great.
Rookie of the Year.
Got a couple juniors here. Fernando Tatis Jr. of the Padres, who made the opening day roster. None of that stupid service rules stuff. And then Vlad Guerrero Jr. of the Blue Jays, also winning the Rookie of the Year.
I hate to be boring, but check and check. A little Tatis Jr., a little Vlad Guerrero Jr. And somebody on TV said the other night, and I can't say that they're wrong, although we'll find out in 17, 18, 20 years, that Vlad Guerrero Jr. is going to be better than his dad. Just let that resonate for a moment.
Hall of Fame.
If he's better than his dad, he's a Hall of Famer.
You're right.
One thing he does better, he's a little quicker than his dad. He's a little faster from point A to point B. Could swipe some more bags. I think you got both. I think they're going to be really fun to watch.
Manager of the Year.
Gabe Kapler of the Phillies managing those new talent, including Bryce Harper, and Brad Ausmus of the Angels.
Brad Ausmus.
Making the postseason.
Okay.
Getting them there.
Boy, you're all in on the Angels, man.
I
hear you. I'm all in on the Twins. I got Rocco Baldelli. I got him, wild card behind the Indians. Rocco Baldelli was a really good player for a couple of years when he came up with the Rays, and then he had Lyme's disease, or he tried to come back with the Red Sox. I think he's going to be a really good manager, although I'm surprised Molitor was sent packing. He's from Minnesota. But I think Baldelli's going to win it in the American League. I've got Dave Martinez for the Nats. And, without Bryce Harper to still win the American League, the NL East, which I think they will, he's going to do a good job. He'll get recognized.
World Series.
I got the Dodgers getting back for the third time against the Astros, who they faced 2 years ago, and the Dodgers will finally win the World Series.
It's not when you win the battle and the war. It's that you win the battle and the war. And I've been waiting since 1981, the first World Series that I remember truly watching. My babysitter, who was good-looking, by the way. She was. The 81 Dodgers, the Yankees and the Dodgers. And finally get back to it, and I'm going to have the Yankees winning the World Series. One thing the Yankees can do midseason, I know they didn't sign Bryce Harper or Machado. They could bring in a big name midseason, which I think they will. Yankees win it.
That was Tiki and Tierney's 2019 MLB season preview.